I was on a road trip the other day and pondered, what's the longest drivable distance on Earth? Of course, I'm not just talking about hopping into a car and driving around endlessly, because you could do that forever. More specifically, what is the longest drivable distance on Earth? Which has to also be the shortest distance between 2 points. Right now, we can drive on all continents, with the exception of Antarctica. But what about the longest drivable distance using only roads? Of course, bridges and tunnels are not cheating, but using a ferry or a boat would be. I'm Charlie, and today we're going to find out the answer to this interesting question. Before we jump into it, why not subscribe and press the notification bell too? There are 4 major road systems on Earth. The North American system, the South American system, the Europe-Africa-Asian system, and the Australian system. The largest one of these is of course the European-African-Asian system, as all of these continents are connected by land. There are various incredibly long road trips you can do all around the world. For example, the largest in the USA is known as US Route 6. This starts in Denver, the capital of Colorado. You need to drive through the Rocky Mountains and high plains. You then go past Area 51, the highly classified US Air Force base, and then you end up in the most eastern endpoint of US Route 6. That is Provincetown on the tip of Cape Cod. This route is 3,100 miles, but that's nothing compared to the longest distance you can drive on Earth. Australia also has a notably long road. This is known as Highway 1. You would begin in Perth, which is the largest city in Western Australia. You would then drive east to Melbourne, the leading financial and cultural city in Australia. You'd then pass by Sydney, the most populous city in the country, and basically go in a circle all the way back to Perth. This clocks in at a whopping 9,000 miles. But did you know that if you open up the Guinness Book of World Records and find the longest road trip, you'll see a lie? Guinness says it's the Pan American Highway, but this is not true. The Pan American Highway goes from North America to South America. It begins in the most northern point of the Americas, Prudhoe Bay, and it supposedly finishes all the way at the bottom of Argentina. This is Lago Escondido, the most southern point of the Americas. But there's one problem with this that makes it completely false. Guinness World Record fails to take into account the Darien Gap. This is also known as Darien National Park. This is a jungle area in Panama with no roads. This means that in between Panama and Colombia, there's an area where you cannot drive. You can drive all the way up to what's known as the end of safety. This is right where the jungle begins. And this is right next to the town of Yavisa. So why are there no roads in the Darien Gap? Well, it's because in this swampy jungle, you'll find 2 things: cartel gangs and paramilitary groups. This makes it incredibly dangerous, hence the name of the forest, the end of safety. Also, barely anyone needs to drive from Panama to Colombia, which is why there are no roads. So if the Pan American Highway isn't the largest drivable distance, what is? Well, we need to look back at the Europe-Africa-Asia road system. You may think the largest distance would be the most southern point of Africa, and then simply driving up to the most eastern point of Russia. The issue with this is that there are barely any roads going east. Pretty much all roads from southern Africa route through Western Europe. That's because there are much better and faster highways. In some areas of Eastern Africa, there are not many roads. But of course, you can't simply drive from Southern Africa to Western Europe. That is because you'd have to cross using a ferry from Northern Africa to Western Europe. That's why we need to start our journey in Europe. We would need to begin in Sagres, Portugal. This is the most southern point in Europe. And then you'd need to drive all the way up to eastern Russia. The furthest point you can go to is Kazan, Russia. This is a town bordering on North Korea. This means you can drive all the way from Portugal in Europe to Russia in Asia. There are only 2 customs checks in Poland and Russia. This is because of European Union rules. And this gives us a drivable distance of 8,726 miles. That's 14,043 kilometers. This would take you about 6 days and 19 hours to complete. So the longest drivable distance is from Sagres, Portugal to Kazan, Russia, despite what the Guinness Book of World Records might tell you. But now it's time to make your voice heard. Comment below, would you ever drive this distance for fun? If you want some more amazing videos, check out my second channel. But as always, thanks for watching. There's some more videos you may like on screen right now. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to Top 10s.